So let's understand what is the DevOps. Okay, so here are some few points. Okay, so and how in the real-time scenario in the organization, how DevOps engineer works, what is his responsibility, what is his tasks, what is his day-to-day activities, all these points covered here. Okay, so what is the DevOps? So Dev means development and Ops means operation. Okay, so simple line, when a developer and a QA engineer start working with the Ops engineer on a daily basis, it called as DevOps. So DevOps is not something. Sorry. So it's not a specific tool or something has specific responsibility. So we have to work with the developer and QA and other project management team, and we have to understand their requirement and task and our project requirement. Then accordingly, we have to start work. So here in other term, DevOps is born when the people, the process and the technology. So here it includes, as I said, so we have to coordinate with the different various team among our project, okay, who is a member. Then we have to follow the process and then we have to use the tools. Okay, start working together in a collaborative manner to achieve a quicker and faster delivery of the quality product and value to the customer through automation. So we have to coordinate with the people, the process, and all the tools. Then, so when we use all these resources, then we can achieve the faster delivery, quality product, and automation. So there is a less manual intervention. Okay, so that is a DevOps. So DevOps is neither a set of tools or nor a technology. It's a philosophy. It's a culture. So in a DevOps, there is no fixed tool that these set of tools means DevOps. Okay, there are hundreds, 500, thousands of are there, depend on the project. The tools are changes by depending on the project and project requirement. That as a DevOps engineer, we have to adopt all these tools, okay, to achieve the automation. Then, so DevOps has grown considerably since its inception. Today, there are many companies that have adopted DevOps, and DevOps engineer is one of the most sought after roles in the marketplace. So this is regarding about the DevOps. Okay, you understood this. Now, who is DevOps engineer? So DevOps is nothing but who is, so yesterday system admin. So we will call it as like 5 years back. Somewhere there is system admin. Okay, so now they are today's DevOps engineers. So they have adopted DevOps tools. Okay, whatever in project in their project they are using, and now they are called DevOps engineer. Not as a system admin can become a DevOps engineer. Anyone can become a DevOps engineer, QA developer, any team can become a DevOps engineer. Okay, so it has a process, people, and the tools. Who has a working experience, who has knowledge, and who is learning the new tools which are being used in the current IT industry, those can become a DevOps engineer. Okay. So in one way, that's true because of the major role in the whole DevOps cycle is being played by the ops guys who were once system admin. Okay. But that is a quality true, equally true. So that is in today's world, everybody who takes part in software development process has to be a DevOps engineer by learning new tools and practice. And as we are aware, the days of system admin who applies specialized skills to tune individual server is over. And today's work is all about automation. So like before 5 years, 10 years back, System admin was playing very role to set up the system, to build the project and release their product versions of this one. So system admin operation team was playing that role. Now the DevOps is playing. Now after that, some new tools are arrived in the market to automate everything. For example, in testing also, the people were doing the manual testing of this one. Now the tools, automation tool came. Now the manual testing is, now this tool, the testing is achieved by the new automation tools. Okay, like the same as the system admin tools, like a system admin is used to build the code manually, copy the code manually, running the command manually. Now we have the tools like to build a Java project. For example, to build Java project, we have the tool like Gradle Maven. Then to automatic, when the developer commit the code, then we can use Jenkins to quickly, means when the developer checking the code in their repository, so automatically build get trigger and it get deployed to the destination environment. So a lot of automation came, not in IT industry. So everywhere you can see that everyone in any field, the automation playing very, automation is everywhere. And automation and can be achieved by the tools. Okay. So what skill we must need to become a DevOps engineer? So like one thing you need to keep in mind that when you talk about a DevOps engineer is that it is not a role, but a skill set that needs to mastered by every software developer and system admin that can become a DevOps engineer. So you have to adopt the tools. For example, we were using the 10 years back, we were using the data center, hardware system, physical firewall, all this one. So now these replaced by the data center is replaced by the cloud. Now next cloud came, cloud development came. Then all this, we were using physical resource, now we are using the cloud. So same as per the requirement, we have to adapt the tools. Okay, that we have to learn. So to become a DevOps engineer, what skill we need? He or she should be excellent system admin. Okay, to become a DevOps engineer, you should become a you should have knowledge about the system admin. So system admin is supposed to build, manage, troubleshoot servers on a regular basis, knowing low-level OS function, example, the kernel, how the boot process happens, what is the memory, allocation, and its parameter. So first thing that, so to become a DevOps engineer, you should have the system admin skill. Okay. Like next, a master in deploying virtualization. So you should have knowledge about the virtualization and cloud. A DevOps professional should be well versed with the entire process of virtualizing servers and other components. Some of the important virtualization tools like technologies are VMware, clouds like AWS, GCP, Azure, any other, then KVM, Vagrant, VirtualBox. Okay, these knowledge or practical knowledge you should have. Next, to become a DevOps engineer, you should have the networking and storage knowledge. A DevOps engineer must know the IT, network, and storage concept. This comes in handy when there is a need to design solution that can be stand up to the test scalability, performance, and high availability at all times. Okay. Next, to become a DevOps engineer, you should have practical or knowledge about the automation tools which are currently being used commonly used in IT project. So there are a lot of automation tool and technologies that are being deployed in the DevOps process. And as a DevOps professional, we need to be familiar with this set of tools and able to deploy them in DevOps setup. Some of the important tools that are being widely deployed include Puppet, Shape, Jenkins, Salt, Ansible, Kubernetes, Docker, Prometheus, cloud computing, storage platform, and infrastructure as a code Terraform. So, one of the mostly used tools you should have knowledge or practical experience to become a DevOps engineer. Next, what skill we need? Next, we should have knowledge or practical experience in a scripting. So now this is the one part where most of the DevOps engineer with a system administrator background lacks. Okay, most of the system admin don't have this knowledge, but you can learn about. So nothing to worry about here. Having a basic knowledge of coding in any popular coding language, example Python, can go a long way. As you know, today's time, everything is automated, including the server triggering, application installation, configuration, validation process. So they must be able to write code to automate a repeatable process. So now in DevOps, we are talking about the infrastructure as a code. So like a Terraform. So Terraform is the infrastructure as code, where in Terraform, we write a script to create a IT infrastructure resource. Suppose I want to create a EC2 instance. So there are two ways. We can create a using manually by creating all this IP, public IP, storage, hardware, all these things. And one more is there, we can write a Terraform code and we can create EC2 instance. So, but why to use Terraform for infrastructure, that we will see the in detail. But so for DevOps engineer, scripting knowledge also is important. So like we can use the code for server triggering, application installation, configuration, validation process. They must be able to write code to automate repeatable process. That's right. If you are going to replace manual process, someone needs to write some code. So remember one thing, as a DevOps engineer, you will not be writing some thousands of line of code. So what is required is to have basic enough knowledge to write some small script. So as like a developer, we don't have to write thousands of line of code, everything. But whenever we need to automate the task, which is repeating, that can be achieved using the script. That script we have to write. Basic enough knowledge to write some small script and should be able to understand the code flow. Then next, what skill DevOps engineer need? Security. So you should have knowledge about the security also. So these days we hear new terms, DevSecOps. Okay. So there is one more position is now the trending in the IT, that is DevSecOps engineer. So this is about the securing the DevOps environment or all environment. Okay, but for DevOps engineer also, you should have about the security knowledge. So we hear it because security is one of the prime focus of a DevOps professional. A DevOps personnel needs to know about various security measures that are to be taken care to ensure that the system is safe and sound and running at all times. Okay. For example, if you create any EC2 instance and you should open only the limited port only. Suppose you need a HTTP, then you should open only the 80 port. You should, if you want to access that instance using the SSH, you should open the 22 port. Okay. Then with your IP only. So that is a security practice we have to follow whenever we create a new resources or we give the access permission, all this one. So for DevOps engineer, you should have knowledge about the security. Next, for DevOps engineer, you should have knowledge about the testing also. So now you will say that why DevOps person needs to be know about testing. So this is this question. But as you know, there are a lot of automation tools that are deployed for the process of testing. So the DevOps personnel needs to have hands-on experience of working with these tools. Nothing to worry here again. You can always go to your development and testing team to address the errors if any their application. For example, testing team is using Selenium, JMeter, any other tools, and they want to automate their testing case into the using the any Jenkins. So you should have knowledge about the how to integrate Selenium with Jenkins, how to integrate JUnit testing with this Jenkins. So these you should have knowledge. But if there is an error in their testing solved, so the testing team will solve. But you should have knowledge about the how to integrate. What is this one? What configuration we have to add? Suppose if you want to integrate any testing tool into the DevOps tools. So these configuration knowledge you should have. Okay. And then last, you should have the communication skill to interact with the, like already starting we have discussed that. So in DevOps, we have the people, process, and technology. So we have to communicate with all the teams. Okay, and we have to explain what you have done of this one. So for this, you should have communication skill. So a DevOps engineer must have the very sound soft skill like communication. So either DevOps process demands an extensive level of collaboration between different teams, different people from different geography. So one must be able to communicate in an effective manner. Okay. Then before designing and implementing the DevOps pipeline, you will need to talk to all of the team and figure out areas they are ready to slightly modify for the pipeline to become to success. So pro tip, sometimes this can require tremendous amount of patience and perseverance. So if you are doing anything or automation, you are doing any task. So before that, you should have discussed with your higher management, project manager, your architect, your team, or any other teams. Okay, so you should have always communicate with within the team. So these are the above skills DevOps engineer should have. Means you should learn, you should have practical knowledge, all this one. Okay. So next, so what does DevOps engineer do? Okay, so we have seen that these skill we need for DevOps engineer. So actually what DevOps engineer do? So they will ask that, what is your daily task? What you are doing exactly? Okay, so here are some tasks like infrastructure setup, software installation, server maintenance, application support, version control support using the tool. Then I build and release process support using Jenkins, TeamCity like this one. Then automate configuration management using this Ansible, Chef, Puppet. So then support cross-functional team, then research and deploy new tool, vulnerability assessment and patching. So this comes under security. This comes under system admin. This comes under so DevOps, means automation. Okay, this comes under system admin. Okay, then server and application level monitoring using ELK, Prometheus, Grafana. Knowledge of ticketing system, Jira like Bugzilla. Then automated backup using various tools. Then access management. Then documentation. So if you are doing any research, POC, you have done any new tool configuration, so you should always do the documentation. Okay, then continuous improvement and self-training. Okay, these DevOps engineer do day-to-day activities. So what are the popular tools you should master? So in DevOps we have the category. So last session we have discussed that source code management tool is GitHub. GitLab, SVN, okay, Azure Repo. These are the source code management tool. And Jenkins is the continuous integration tool, like last we have seen. So there are categories for the every tools. So DevOps tools enable the teams for effective collaboration, sharing and exchanging resources and information in an automated manner. The following chart include the most popular DevOps tools being used today. By the way, for each step in DevOps lifecycle, there are multiple alternative paid and open source tools that are available in the market. So like we have the category for collaboration. What tool we are using? So most used tool is Jira, and one more tool is Slack. So you should have knowledge or you should have experience on the collaboration tool Jira, like code hosting or code review or source code management. Okay, like we can also call it as a SCM, source code management, like GitHub, GitLab, SVN. Then we have the next category, continuous integration and deployment. So which tools are integrated? Jenkins, GitLab, CI/CD, GitLab CI/CD, TeamCity. Okay, these are the tools. Okay, then we have the Azure DevOps, then AWS Code Deploy. Like these are the tools. Like testing automation, Selenium. Most used tool is Selenium, JMeter, JProfile, then Cucumber. So depend upon the project, these are the testing automation tool. Then we have the configuration management. We have the Ansible, Chef, Puppet. So mostly used tool is Ansible. Here mostly used tool is Selenium, JMeter. Here mostly used tool is Jenkins and GitLab CI/CD. Here is most used tool is GitHub. Here is most used tool is Jira. Then we have the category infrastructure and application monitoring. Here we have the Prometheus, then Grafana, then Nagios, then we have the Zabbix. Okay, so these are the infrastructure and application monitoring tool. Next, we have the containerization and provisioning. So here we have the tools like Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, GCP, OpenStack. Okay, here we can call it as a provisioning, then cloud. Okay. Then infrastructure as a code or orchestration code is Terraform. The one more tool is the package manager. Package manager tool is the like a Helm, then APT, then Yum. Okay, like we can use. Then we have the one more category login. We have the ELK, Splunk. So these are the mostly used tools. Okay, these are the tools, and you should have for each category. You at least you should have the one tool. You should have done training, or you should have done practice or industry experience. Okay. Then what are the daily list? So in interview, the interviewer might ask that, what is your daily task as a DevOps engineer? So these are the daily tasks of DevOps engineer. Or you can say that DevOps engineer roles and responsibility. So like what are the daily tasks of DevOps engineer? Checking email, checking system and application monitoring alerts, checking Jira and any other ticketing tool for pending scheduled tasks, and updating the sprint accordingly. Then you should have clear notification of alerting system. Ensure of any new service created and monitoring has been set up on that. Verify if all the services running on that server are covered under the monitoring system. Then check and automate if any server is running out of disk, taking a backup of instance and restoring if required. Then next task is taking a backup of production DB, providing that DB developer sound staging testing environment for testing of any issue. Then automation setup of daily tasks like DB backup, instance creation, modifying, updating, logs, config file, backup. You should do the automation. Then in case of new project setting of new, you have to write a new Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, then freestyle pipeline, anything. Next, monitoring health of hosting infrastructure like Kubernetes cluster, Docker Swarm, nodes, etc, whatever, or any other infrastructure you have. Then making config changes on server using Ansible, Chef, Puppet. Then writing configuration management playbook for automating daily tasks. Then deploying code on development and production server. Next, ensure that post-deployment sanity of code is done and proper sign-off are given. Next is the seeking of approval from business, QA, InfoSec, UAT, security sign-off. Then providing assistance during IT audit. Then next, ensuring that access on servers are given to required users only. And that's too after proper approval from the various stakeholder. So here you should follow the change request. So in every project they have the change request form, then approval form. So if you want to implement anyone, so you should have take approval. Okay. Then preparing documentation for all the task and process. Okay, these are the daily tasks of DevOps engineer. So this is all about the, so now you have the clear idea about what is DevOps, who is the DevOps engineer, who are the DevOps engineer, what skills DevOps engineer must possess. Next, what does DevOps engineer do? And what are the popular DevOps tools? And then what is the daily task of DevOps engineer?